Hey, what's going on, everybody? Brando Free2Play, back on my free-to-play account. And in case you guys might have watched Lady Callista's video in the guild chat that you were able to see, some people might have noticed, and I also made a comment about it just so nobody would speculate. But it is true, I almost, and I will say almost, got zeroed this KVK. It was not a fun experience being on a receiving end of what we like to call a gangbang, which is pretty much when we call out a target in guild chat and we have multiple people poured in and attack that same player repeatedly or at the same time. Mainly this works really good, especially if that person is a march out and cannot random away. And even if they did random away, 9 times out of, I'd say 7 times out of 10, somebody could come away with a leader before the person randoms away. Now, in this case, I was attacked by 6 players. Yes, it was a 6v1 versus a guild KS. Alright, let's take a look at this guy, see if he's in war gear. He is not in war gear, but he had, as you can tell, he is not a free-to-play player. He is a fairly solid pay-to-play player. And their guild is a 40 billion might guild. Okay, so right out the bat, this attack filled up half of my infirmaries. Now this attack it really did hurt, mainly because I did not have my leader and about 4 of my wall heroes were in my battalion that I sent out in an attack. So as you guys can see here, I lost a buttload of stealth snipers, but they were only wounded, which is fantastic. The next hit, and you can see what he lost, right? So it was, a decent hit on his end. Granted, he was in war gear. I didn't have my leader. So pretty much it was 800,000 versus his 375,000 base stats. This guy, he went ahead and he took some T4 losses, and I wounded quite a few of his T4. 78,000 of his T4 to be exact. Okay? And he lost 25,000 T4. The next hit I took, my leader had returned. Okay? So my next hit, as you guys can see, my infirmaries filled up immediately. Okay? And I have a good amount of infirmaries. I have 10 of them. And they were filled up in 2 hits, which kind of sucks, but they did what they were supposed to do, and I was caught in a bad situation. But as you guys can see here, I almost, and I say almost, because I'm optimistic, right? I almost capped this march. Okay? Let's see if this guy's in war gear. So this guy is in war gear. You guys can see this guy is also not a free-to-play player. He does have some fairly decent infantry gear. Alright? Now, as you guys can see, he had 195,000 dead troops. I did lose 151,000 troops in this attack, so I was getting zeroed, which was not good, not fun at all. But what made my day after looking at these reports was this. Holy shit. This guy lost 128,000 T4 hitting a free-to-play player. God, does he feel stupid. I mean, look at that. That is disgusting. Granted, He did start chipping away at my T4 Cannoneers, my T4 ranged. I did lose 27,000 dead, which for a free-to-play player, that hurt. It hurt so much, but it happens. I lost a ton of T3 in that hit, but you know, life goes on. Let's move on to the next hit. Now, if you guys actually look at the timestamp, this one was at 12:42, 12:40. You know, this next attack was 4 seconds later. 3 seconds later, this attack hit. And as you guys can see here, I took another massive loss of 126,000 troops. Now this person, let's take a look at this guy. He's not in war gear, but he is a 1.5 billion player. And in all honesty, he should have done a heck of a lot better. I don't know if he's just a bad player, bad gear, I'm just that good. I have no idea why he could not zero me out in one hit. In fact, he took more damage than I did in this one hit. And if you're watching this video, I'm sorry, but that's kind of embarrassing. He lost 56,000 T4 that are dead. And for some reason, he sent a rainbow march to a free-to-play player. Don't ask me why. Ask him. I have no idea why he did that. And my losses, I went ahead and I lost a lot more T3, and he wounded, and actually he killed a lot of my T4 as well. He killed another 13,000 T4. Man, looking at these reports, it hurts. It fucking hurts. This next hit, I was a success on my part, which I was somewhat surprised. Okay, this is another fairly high pay-to-play player. Okay, and I mean, come on, I am a free-to-play player versus pay-to-play players. Majority of my troops are dying away, and yet they're still losing these battles by a considerable amount. I consider this battle was, if I had my full troops, I would have capped this march easily. Now this guy, he was somewhat smart about it. He just had a bunch of wounded T4, and I killed off a lot of his T3. Killed off 9,000 T4, which was okay. As you guys can see here, he killed off about another 1.7 thousand T4 and 55,000 T3. Moving on to the next hit. This hit is the one that really hurt me, because I mean, just look at the amount of dead troops that I have, and while these attacks were coming in, you know, this attack and that attack came in 1 second after each other. I was trying to shelter my troops, but if you guys know, when you're being attacked and the attack hits, the troop count resets, so you can't shelter. So at this point, I was panicking already, because I did not want to be completely zeroed. I wanted to shelter my leader and get the fuck out of there. So I was kind of panicking. These two hits came out 1 second after another, and it was not a good time. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I lost here. And you guys can see all of my T4 infantry have died. Okay, all of my T4 ranged. A large majority of it were wounded. I did have to rebuild some T4 ranged. But for the most part, all of my infantry was pretty much wiped out, as well as some of my ranged troops, both either in the infirmary or dead. But infantry, pretty much all of it was dead, which that hurt. That really did hurt. which is what some of you guys might have seen in the video that I posted up on Guild Chat, that my T4 infantry was pretty much gone. Now this is, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the last hit before I sheltered and randomed away. This attack also kind of shows, you know, I am only 321,000 troops left versus a march that has about 50,000 more troops than I do, and yet somehow I still win. As you guys can see, this guy is not a free-to-play player. How? I don't know. I don't know. But let's take a look at the reports. This guy, he went ahead and he took some a lot of wounded. 53,000 wounded T4 and 23,000 dead T4. And as you guys can see here, I only really lost 74,000 T3. And after that, I was able to shelter, so I had no more losses. I was perfectly fine with that. No problem. My hero was safe. And good news, as you guys can see, I have my leader. He is intact. My might is slowly rebuilding. Okay. I have rebuilt all of my T4. I have rebuilt a large majority of my T3 infantry. I am currently working on rebuilding my T3 cav. That's going to take me a while to rebuild. Hopefully after Guildfest, I'll be able to focus on it and use some of the gems or whatever rewards I get to kind of help bring my numbers back up to what they were before. Just wanted to make this video to let you guys know exactly what went down. And this literally took place, let's see here, the first attack happened at 12:42:57, and the last attack, this all happened within 30 seconds. Alright, so yeah, 30 seconds, I was online, and they were able to do this kind of damage to me. But they did not do it, you know, without much of a cost, okay? Mainly because I was able to accumulate, where am I? 11.7 million KVK points. Now, I actually wrote down and took a little snapshot on my computer of how many troops I killed. Now this is red, killed, when they attacked me. KS ended up losing 243.9 thousand T4 troops attacking me. They also ended up losing 209.2 thousand T3 troops. That is a lot of T4 that they had to rebuild. I only had to rebuild about 101,000 T4. They had to do double that. So at the end of the day, who do you guys think came out a winner in that 6v1 trade-off? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, guys. See ya.